Okay, hey everybody, how you doing? This is Tracey that you're looking all fly. Oh my gosh, we were just talking about like when you look good, like you just can't help it. You gotta fix your hair a few times. Show them, Tracy. Show them how you do it.
Yeah.
Look up. Wait, hold on. Did you call me? What?
You call me who? Said what when? No.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Well, as y'all can see, we're going to be chatting about singleness today, and we're already having too much fun. But hey,
Totally.
Tracy, for everybody who's watching, tell them a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Like, how long have you been single? All that.
Oh, okay. So since we are talking about singleness, I will start there. All right. So hi everyone. My name is Tracey. Hi. Um, so I have been single for almost 2 years now. Next month, which is November 2017, officially makes 2 years.
Wow.
So it's been amazing. um, honestly, like, lie. Of course, you have those moments where you're just like, oh, I think this would be nice to do this with somebody or hang with
Mm-hmm.
somebody and do that or whatever. But for me, that wasn't really my story often, simply because I came from a relationship. I was with specifically my ex for 9 years.
Wow.
And my boyfriend before that, we were together for like 3 years. And then before that, it was like high school. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that was like 5 years or something like that, something to that effect.
Wow.
And so I was never single. Like
Basically, you're
I
just
was
born
not that
dating
girl.
somebody. I said you were born
What
dating
is
somebody.
I'm sure I speak about the truth, okay? From since I was like 15, no, seriously, since I was 15,
Mm-hmm.
I was in a relationship. Um, and that's when my first boyfriend and I were together, and I was single for 2 years now. So it's been amazing. I'm like laughing and smiling at the same time because I never knew that that was even a possibility for me, because I always was just like, I got a man. Like, don't talk to me about nothing. Don't talk
Mm-hmm.
to me about no single nothing, because I got a man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I ain't about that life. I got a man. And so to have been single thus far has been, it's really been an interesting journey. Um, what I liked the most, what I've been loving the most actually, is the amount of time I get to spend with God, specifically me and him,
Mm-hmm.
and how I've been able to learn who I am because of me getting to know him deeply and intimately. That I've loved about being single was realizing that intimacy is not sex. And I saw sex as intimacy. And so I've only had 3 boyfriends in my life. So I was definitely having sex, and I was having a lot of sex. So like, but with them, but then once I celibate, it was just like, okay, so I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
What does it look like to not do that? What does it look like to then understand intimacy? What does it then look
Mm-hmm.
like to understand how to build a friendship with somebody and actually be friends, not on some I'm being your friend because I like you and I want you to be my, you know what I mean? Like, not like
Mm-hmm.
that, like genuinely be friends. So that's been the journey. The things that I didn't really like initially about celibacy,
Mm-hmm.
about singleness
Mm-hmm.
specifically, was I didn't understand what it would be like at first when this whole process of becoming single,
Mm-hmm.
what it was going to be like. I've always been at that point. I was always the person who liked to know exactly what I'm doing. and exactly what it looks like. I was a planner. I was specifically a planner around my family life, you know, like, okay, so I'm gonna be with you till such and such, so on and so forth. So to be single and it's like, this is the world that you're living in. It
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, so there's no like here. um, it was just really a testament of getting to know God and having a good time getting to know him and being out on my bay dates, you know, because you
Mm-hmm.
know Jesus is bay. And like for real, that's like that's that's legit my story.
Mm-hmm.
Like he really is. And so I mean, I think it's been amazing to get to know him.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that's been the best thing about it. The one of the worst things, as I said, was just not really having an idea of what singleness looked
Mm-hmm.
like never single. So any concept of singleness would have been um, overwhelming for me. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Wow.
those are my two things.
Amazing. I just have to say, one of my favorite things about you, I didn't have the opportunity to know you, um, before Jesus became Bae and before you were single. But one of my favorite things about you is that this happiness and joy and bouncing and like hair flowing, all of that is a part of who you are. Like it's not an act, it's not a show, it's not like,
Oh
oh, I'm on an
wow.
interview, let me pretend to be happy. Like that's you. Like you can tell it just oozes from your heart. Um,
Oh my
I love
gosh,
that.
girl. Like, yes, yes. Speak on that. Jesus. Yes, I love that. I love that. Thank you.
Yeah,
Oh
I
gosh.
love that.
I gotta pray. I gotta tell him I praise him for the Jesus juice out here in these streets. Like
Absolutely. I love that. And another reason why I love it is because a lot of times singleness is synonymous with misery, with being downcast and
mm.
downtrodden and like, oh, must be nice. And just this idea of, well, that girl over there who's in a relationship has something that I don't have, or has more to
Mm-hmm.
be happy about, has more to post about, has more to say, has more to like, offer in conversation, or something like that. Like I think there's just this humongous comparison between where you are in life and where you want to be. And unfortunately, lots of times
Mm-hmm.
people put people there, like, oh, I can't wait to take my selfies with him, or I can't wait to do such and such. And I don't think there's anything wrong with like having desires. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think the issue comes when it's like what you live for, and like you're storing up your joy for a future time in your life, you know? So yeah.
So yeah, that's really oh no. I'ma just say it flat out. If that is you, honey, no. Like we just gonna talk about you right here, right now. Like that
Mm-hmm.
don't work. The reason why it does not work is because your life does not start once you get a man. Your life does not start
Mm-hmm.
once somebody proposes to you. Your life doesn't start once somebody's coming to check for you. Cause like, listen up. Your validation is not in that man. And if your validation is in that man, you're going to fall in everything and in every capacity. You are
Mm-hmm.
going to fall because you don't have your own identity. And for me, um, identity and my identity has to be grounded, rooted, and booted. I mean, rooted and booted like old century old tree, rooted in Christ. And if that's not your case, I'm not talking to somebody who's not a believer specifically about this, but even if you are not a believer, like I can tell you firsthand. Now we're gonna get real serious about this. My identity was in my ex. period. There's no like other story. There's no like dot, dot, dot. No, my identity was in him.
Mm-hmm.
So when that's how for me, like what I would always say was, that's how I know God is for real. Like for real. Because I wouldn't have been single if it wasn't for him. No, I would have never been single
Mm-hmm.
because my identity was in him, and that was normal to me. So to not be in a relationship, it was a resounding noise. I don't want to say noise because noise can be perceived as like annoying, but it was a resounding sound of, this is all God happening right here, right now. And
Mm-hmm.
for me, and in that relationship, that's how I met God. And that's how that relationship was fostered. So I totally understand that. Be like, all right, you want to be booed up. It's cuffing season. It's about to be cold outside. Everybody gonna be inside. Everybody gonna want to go to the movies with their man. Everybody taking pictures of the legs. No face, of hands, no face, of elbows, hand in hand, no face. I mean, that's all cute and well, but like that don't mean that your life hasn't started. Like
Right.
that's not it.
Mm-hmm.
Like for me, I actually, one of the things, so weekly, at least, I would say at least every week, I go out on a date. So this is, as I said, Jesus is Bae. So
Mm-hmm.
Bae and I are on a date, and recent date I did, I went to the movies for the first time solo. And that freaked me the hell out. Okay. It freaked me out because I've never done that before. And I've heard that, oh, if you go to the movies by yourself, you look like you looking mad thirsty, or you look like you thirst trapping, because it's like, all right, somebody should sit next to me. Then you're gonna be like, hey, you're gonna be giving all type of men come hither looks. You know what I'm saying? So he can come sit next to you or whatever. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh gosh, this is so overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
But I went and I had a really good time. And I was like, thanks, babe. We
Mm-hmm.
had a great time. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, it was great. I feel like you got to be out there dating yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I'm
Dating
not
yourself.
saying that
Mm-hmm.
void of God, but I'm just saying that within this time of singleness, you need to be dating yourself. Even if you don't say, okay, you got going out on your bae dates and Jesus is not your bae per se, it's like, go out and go learn yourself. You know why? Because you're gonna get into a relationship and you're gonna adapt to him so easy because you're just pleasing him all day, every day. And I know this good and well. So it's like, you're not even going to realize who the heck you are. Like, who are you? You don't even have an answer for that. I'll tell
Mm-hmm.
you that I didn't have an answer for that when it was like, okay, Tracey, who are you? What do you like? What don't you like? And I'm like, I don't know if you ever seen that movie. It just popped into my head, Coming to America. And the
Girl,
girl
yes.
was like,
Mm-hmm.
what do you like? Whatever you want. Whatever did she
Mm-hmm.
say? Whatever you want.
Whatever you like. What kind
Whatever
of
you
music you
want.
like? Whatever
Yeah.
kind of music you like.
Yes, whatever you like.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you want to do. That was me. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
may not have been like, whatever you want, but I was
Mm-hmm.
doing whatever you like, whatever you want to do. You want to do this? Yes, I'm doing it. It was
Right.
like chameleon,
Wow. Mm-hmm.
personal color.
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't have a personal color. And
Mm.
um,
I love that.
what excites me about dating, and even getting to know somebody is to just be like, this is what I like, this is what I don't like, and being very um, specific about it. Like there are certain things
Mm-hmm.
that I will not compromise, of course not.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain things I'm willing to have a conversation about. That doesn't necessarily mean I'd actually be dating you. It just means that I'm open to having conversations about certain things.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel I am very about, you have to know who the heck you are, because you will be lost in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even understand how you even got there, because that was something that I saw within myself. I
Mm-hmm.
was just like, wait, how is it that I don't know what I like to do? How is it that I don't know these things? I'm thinking everything that I have been doing, I thought I liked it. No, you liked it because he liked it, like that you genuinely liked.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and this is not like a negative response. It's just what a fact is.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a what I would say is specifically, I know these pictures are super cute. Double tap, you know what I mean? You see them, you scroll and you like, ooh, that's so cute. They got matching Jordans on,
Mm-hmm.
they got matching Tims on, or they got the hand holding and they at the movie theater or even at the park. You could do that all with Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying you cannot get obviously matching sneakers because but you know what I'm saying? Like, you can get you a new pair of something and be like, you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
God was providing out here.
Right.
you know, uh, need to have a good time with him. Like, really, because having a good time with God is having a good time with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's not physically, like, I can't physically tap him and be
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, come sit next to me. You know what I mean? Like, he
Mm-hmm.
will be sitting next to you, but you're not going to feel him. Like, all right, I could touch you. Like, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's really important to still maintain your time with God solo, regardless of if you are in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
I
So that's
love
something
that.
that I'm excited about.
Mm-hmm. I love that so much. That's so great. Wow, amazing. Um, One thing that I wanted to bring up was, um, oh, okay. So something that I wanted to bring up was, I love what you said about like having your own identity and just getting to know who you are and getting to know what you like, what you don't like, and just kind of being open about those
Mm-hmm.
things and aware of what those things are, you know? Um,
Yeah.
and I definitely feel you on the
Room,
whole.
guys. Let me just in a hotel room in the business center. So if you see anybody behind me, it's okay. There's nothing wrong. Nothing's happening. But yes,
Right. But
right.
yeah, so I really love that. And um, I'm so grateful that you shared that and that you shared your personal story, your personal journey. I like so much of it resonates with me and my own personal story. It's so
Mm-hmm.
funny because sometimes I feel like my husband's like, "What do you know about being single?" I'm like, "Really?
I was
Like,
single
what do you
before
think I
you.
was doing my whole life?" Yeah.
That's
Um,
funny. And
but
you know what? Sometimes a lot of people, just to like piggyback on what you said, a lot of people always feel like the best person to talk about singleness is the person who is single. I'm not saying that that's not the best person to talk about singleness. Um, believe that people who are married are also well equipped to talk about singleness too because they have a context for both and
mhm,
understanding what it looks like to move past singleness into marriage and seeing how their habit of singleness um, propelled them or perpetuated a negative habit or
mhm,
something while they have been married. So I wouldn't necessarily like married people. But I wouldn't say that only married people can talk about singleness, obviously.
mhm,
There has to be an even exchange. And so that's why I'm really like loving what you're doing here about
mhm,
this. Like, just, yes, you are married, but you're still talking about being single
mhm,
with other people who are currently single. So,
mhm. Thank you. Yeah, it's a big deal to me. I mean, I feel like this type of thing either didn't exist or I didn't get the memo. But
mm-hmm,
I feel like I
mm-hmm,
spent
mm-hmm,
so much of the season, comparing. And I mean, don't even get me started on like the public school system where everybody starts dating at 11, or 12 or
yo,
something.
yeah,
And it's
yeah,
just
yeah,
like this pressure from
yeah.
all ends. And it's so funny. I saw this meme where it was like, I saw this meme and I think it's so true. I'm going to just paraphrase it. But basically, it was like when you're 12 to 16, 17, everybody's like, you're too young to date, you're too young to date. And then when you're like 25, they're like, but where's your boyfriend at? You know, and like, where's the babies at? And where's your, where's your spouse at? And it's like, whoa, how do we jump so fast?
Yeah,
But
internets do try to rush you.
mhm.
They do.
Yeah, and
The
sometimes family
internets
be the ones
definitely
like,
do.
your clock is ticking, right?
Oh
Like,
yeah.
oh goodness.
Yeah.
So I love it.
Yeah.
I'm just so passionate about
Author of
women.
time. Let's speak about that. Okay. Let's talk
Yeah.
about how you're the author of time. Stand back.
Right?
Come
Like, chill
out.
out.
Don't come for my neck. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like, don't come for my neck. But thankfully, like that hasn't for me, that hasn't been something that I've received in terms of, oh, it's about that time or whatever. Like I haven't really received that. I know what I've received from just my family is just making sure I'm okay. You know what I mean? Like they're just trying to make sure they've been like, okay, we just want to make sure you're okay. Like we haven't seen you talk about a man. We haven't seen you,
Mm-hmm.
man. Like, first of all, obviously, as I said earlier, that wasn't, my pattern. My pattern was, all right, I'm not talking to this one. Boop, here comes the next one. You know what I mean? And so for them, it's like, okay, so you're okay, right? Like, is everything okay?
Mm-hmm.
And just making sure like I'm good and stuff. And yeah, that's kind of what I've received. Not necessarily more like a, hey, what's going on? It's more like just
Mm-hmm.
making sure you're good,
Mm-hmm.
like we would love to meet somebody,
Mm-hmm.
when that time comes.
Mm-hmm.
My niece and nephew, my pride and joy, my little babies, my sister, two children, has two children, and my niece is 9, who looks and acts just like me. My nephew is 6, and his birthday is 2 days before my birthday. So my sister is like, so I had my sister, and then I had a child next to my sister's birthday. Like, okay, I'm just like, everything is Tracey, right? But I love them. But yeah, so actually, this had to be maybe 2 weeks. I want to say 2 weeks now. Yeah, this was like 2 weeks ago. Was just randomly, like absolutely nothing was happening around when I was with her. Nothing was happening. Like randomly, just asked me if I'm going to be dating. No, my nephew asked me. My nephew asked me if I'm going to be dating, and I was like, dating? Yes, I am going to be dating. And then my niece is like, oh, are we gonna meet him? I said, when there is someone to meet, you will definitely meet him.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, he's gonna talk to us, he's gonna say hi to us. I said, yes, he's gonna say hi to you, he's gonna say hi to mommy, he's gonna say hi to grandma, he's gonna, like, I was just like, going on and on.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought it was awesome because nephew is excited for when that time comes with me. Um, I've told both of them. I know that they are very much so aware. They are old enough to be aware, and they've asked me why my ex and I broke up, and I told them. And they'll. This is what they say to me. That's apparently how they heard it, which is what they heard. But I'm like, they'll ask me, hey, why did you break up with so and so? And I'm like, and they're like, okay. I said, okay, so what did I say? And they'll both say, because you said that because you love God more. That's exactly their
Wow.
response.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get emotional just talking about them, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like, have done something in life for my niece and nephew to even understand that concept. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? That it has nothing to do with times when God tells you to let something go. You let that, when you're supposed to let that go, you are supposed to let that go. Just to stand and walk in obedience. If He is Lord to you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That is so beautiful. I love that. And I bet you never would have imagined that you walking in that obedience, even in the face of like a relationship I'm sure you thought was going to last forever, would have the ripple effect
Girl,
of that on your, on your family.
I wanted to say, you just said a relationship that you thought would last forever.
Hmm.
And I thought about, there was this meme that I
Hmm.
saw the other day, and it was like a little girl crying, like with her hands out here, like at the top of her lungs. And it was like when God tells you to break up with him, and then at the bottom it was like, but I've already planned the wedding.
Talk about it now. Talk
I was
about
like,
it.
if that's not the truth,
Hmm.
that's somebody needs a standing ovation for that one. Whoever
Yeah.
made that meme, like, no, I legit,
Hmm.
I legit in my mind was like, this
Hmm.
is it. This is what's going down. This is it. So
Hmm.
when God said otherwise, I was like, what are you talking about, Willis? Like one of those
Right.
type of moments. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Man, but you know what? Like that's the thing. That's why I feel like the single season is so important because, first of all, we're always growing and developing, or we should be. And
Yeah.
you tend to find people that fit where you are in life. But without the proper perspective of like where God wants to take you in life, you might mess around and find somebody who fits where you are, and then eventually over time they'll fit who you used to be or where you used to be. And I remember feeling myself like God was knocking on the door of my heart, but I was with somebody who wouldn't even say grace with me, let alone like cover me in difficult times. So it's like, And then it was
Mm.
in that tug of war time where God's like, you know,
Mm. A tug of
hello,
war.
here I
Yes.
am. Like, do you want to follow me? And I'm like, yeah, but I got this guy, and like I kind of want the guy more. And like, I mean, and God's like, so
Facts.
would
Can we
you go
be
to
real
hell
about I
for
kind of want the
him?
guy more? Yes.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
like, would you go to hell
I
for
will do
him?
that gladly, God. I'll do
Yeah, I
that
mean,
gladly. Whatever
your
I
house
gotta
seems
do.
so far
Take
away, and
everything
he's
else.
here
Right.
now, right?
Right,
Right.
right, right.
So,
No, seriously, I
yeah.
had a very real conversation with God. Like, take everything else but this. You
Right.
can have all access pass,
Hmm.
everything else but this. And I'm
Right.
like, stop trying to get this. Like, focus on what I said on
Hmm.
the other end. Stop focusing on this. And I felt like I was
Hmm.
focusing on this. Like, stay away from this. Stay
Hmm.
away.
Hmm.
And if you think about it, like, I mean, now I would understand that there's no way that God would have been able to exist in my life the way in which he does now,
Hmm.
had I been in that relationship still
Hmm.
and in that space still, specifically because I saw him as my God.
Hmm.
I may have never said it. I would have never wanted to have said it. But what it was, he was my God. How is it that, and even in the word, how is it that God is going to exist with any of your gods before him? Like
Hmm.
that is not going to work.
Hmm.
So of course he had to leave, to this capacity. But I didn't understand it at that space. In that space,
Hmm.
I was like, all right, God, you want me to talk about you a little bit more? Okay, I'll talk about you a little bit more.
Hmm.
Just don't take him away from me. um get to a point where you have an extremely unhealthy, um not even desire, but it's like this dependency
Hmm.
on, the dependency on someone else. Any and everything that person does affect you,
Hmm.
and whether positive or negative, it affects you. And
Hmm.
so just having that extreme, unhealthy connection with a person is like, and not mention sex adds everything to it, because it's like you're giving yourself up in so many different ways that you don't even realize.
Hmm.
You really don't even realize.
Hmm.
And so for me, celibacy and singleness and all of it has been quite the learning experience, you know, like it's been quite the learning experience because ultimately I never thought I'd be cut out for celibacy. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was not never really on my plan of things to
Right.
do or not to do rather, you
Right.
know. So
Right.
so yeah.
I love
It's
that.
all been a very interesting learning experience, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow, I love that. One of the quotes I was gonna say is something I stole from Will, which is, "You carry the burden of what you're attached to, of what you're
Mm.
attached to." And like you were saying, you carry the
Mm-hmm.
burden of who you're attached to, and that could be good or
Mm-hmm.
bad, depending
Mm-hmm.
on the person. And also I felt like the thought that just came to me while you were
Yeah.
speaking is what I was caught up in was giving a life-giving love to a dead man. And God is like,
Mm-hmm.
you have the type of love and encouragement, like you were saying. Women have this incredible capacity to build up a man to become a leader of, like, this world has never seen. But you're trying to, like, pour all of that into somebody that's not even a good fit for where you want to go. Like, if you want to go and
Mm-hmm.
speak and encourage people and break
Mm-hmm.
people free from, what they're bound to, you kind of have to be free and be filled
Mm-hmm.
with
Yeah.
encouragement on your own. And if you have a partner, they kind of
Yeah.
need to be along the same wavelength. And they kind of need to be alive and forward moving and able to pour into you when you've poured out everything you've got.
So I do want to make the point, just for the listeners, two different points. One is that this is not about bashing anybody. This is not about bashing your exes or anything like that.
Yep.
This is your personal story of where you are and me where I am. Um, and secondly, I would never say that there is anything wrong with my ex.
Mm-hmm.
What I would say is he was at that time just not that I needed to be with moving forward in that time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And something that I wanted to talk about are yes. So I also wanted to say that it's important for you to realize that you are not in relationship by yourself. So I had to realize I was not in relationship by myself. So how is it that I be in relationship with someone who I felt wasn't working for me at that time? What is it that was happening within me? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm clearly attracting something that if I say I don't want, that exactly because clearly there are broken pieces in me that are being exposed to somebody and someone is attracting to that and I'm allowing that to happen.
Wow.
So people can only get into your space when you let them, you know what
Mm-hmm.
I mean? So I'm letting said person or said people what so have you into my space, into my broken pieces, and they are bleeding the same way I'm bleeding. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not seeing anything wrong with that until there is this like moment where God comes into and like I meet God in this way, and I'm just like, oh, like your eyes, like the blinders on your eyes get
Mm-hmm.
opened, and you're like, oh, I see differently now. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So at
Right.
that point, you're just like, oh, so this can't happen. Not only because I don't want it to happen, but based on what God has downloaded in my spirit for me to be, and
Mm-hmm.
for where He wants me to be, and where He wants me to go. This is not going to work for me. So, case in point, Joseph, and like yes, Joseph in the jacket, right? I'm talking about Joseph.
Mm-hmm. I
Did
mean,
I
the
say it
jacket of many
correctly?
colors. The coat of many colors.
Jonathan?
You're right, Joseph.
Dang it. Now I'm missing this. Yeah, I am. Okay, I knew I was right. I was like, why did I second guess myself? But anyway, boop. So yeah, like, you find out all these things. God can download this stuff to you in a dream or whatsoever have you in a vision, however it happens. And then you may see this is the end goal, but there's a process that you have to go through. And in that process, you may very well see that the person that you are looking in front of, looking at face to face in front of you, is actually not the person that's going to last within the process of the end goal. You know what I'm saying? That person was right here, right before you got the dream, right before you got the vision. Then at this point, there's an alone period, and I want to alone because you are at that point all in one. You know what I'm saying? You are all in one at that point, and then up until there's someone introduced into your space that can then move forward in the process. But that doesn't mean that the process starts with that said person, with the person from beforehand. So you have to be mindful of, like for me, I had to specifically be mindful of what does it look like for me to be in relationship with whoever I was ever in a relationship again with. Because when you are finally single, you want to go back to something that makes sense. Let's be real and let's be honest. Okay, if you've had sex with people, you don't want to call up a new person. You want to call up the same person that you didn't have sex with before, because you already know what you're expecting. You already know what it's going to be. So you're like, okay, I'm prepared to do that. But it's like going right back. What is that getting you? How is that making you grow? What is that actually teaching you? Like, in what way are you growing? Are you developing? No. So at this point, you have to rely on the Lord for you to feel like you are not lonely, because you're not. You may very well be alone, but you're not lonely. And I think it's really important and that's why, as I said, the day dates are really important. One thing that was and that I know that I will probably continue on in life in general is date night. Date night is very, very important to me, just in relationships and everything. So yeah, like even when I have a man and when I got a husband and all that stuff, date night. So you have to make sure that you make time to even date yourself and just have a good time. Like, just because you don't have a man does not mean your world has ended and you cannot live. Like, you can travel up and leave. You can pick up and do all type of missionary work, whatever you want to do. Missionary work in your backyard, missionary work, like all type of stuff. The world is your oyster at that point, because you don't have anyone to ask any questions to. So yeah,
right. And one of the things that I loved about my single season, once I learned all the stuff that you were talking about, like how it can be a good thing, how it can be fun, how it can be exhilarating, how it can be a wonderful time to take advantage of different opportunities. And that's really when I started to just explore some of my gifts and talents and run hand in hand with the relationship with God and see what that looks like. I don't think I ever really gave myself the opportunity to say, God, all right, here's my life. What do you want to do with it? What are we doing today? What kind of gifts do I have within me that I haven't used? And I felt like for so long, not necessarily because of people, but just because of my mindset, I'd suppressed a lot of the gifts and talents and desires that I'd had because they didn't fit, like you were saying, with the lifestyle that I was living. They just didn't fit. Women empowerment is hard to do when you're not very empowered. And when you just don't have that mindset of like, just crazy stuff. When you don't have that perspective, when you don't have that mindset, you cannot pour out what you don't have. and there's lots of stuff that was blocking from that receiving end on my end. So I felt like singleness was just a really great opportunity to see the gifts that I have and to see like how God wanted to use me and use my passion for women, my passion for people, my outgoing personality that I kind of stifled to kind of fit different things that I thought it would be more appropriate, more ladylike, to be more silent, and to not use my gifts and
And
all that. And
demure, right.
right. And so I really love it because it's something that I learned in singleness and ran with and embraced. And then now, as a married woman, like, my husband's like, go, 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 be free, like go fly, go do your thing. He already knows, like,
Yes.
when we talk to people
Let's
that,
applaud
right?
him
Like, thank
for
God.
being the cheerleader.
Yeah, I love it. It's so
Yes.
funny though. Side note, that when we counsel people, he kind of gets a little nervous because he's straight to the point. Like he's like, "This is what you need to do: A, B, and C." Like very business like. And we'll sit across from people, and he knows I'm gonna say something. He's like, oh God, what is she gonna say? But whenever we sit with people, he's like, just do A, B, and C, and he's like trying to usher them out the door. And I'm like, wait a minute, come back here. How's your heart? Like how you feel, And it never fails. The person's always like, well, now that you mention it, and there's just like a whole new level. But I love that there's a place for that, where I can
Yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
myself. So
Yep.
I love that. I love that. The last thing that I wanted to ask, this has been so great. Thank you so much for sharing and getting real. I knew I could count on you with that. The last thing I wanted to say was I wanted to send gifts out to single people randomly. And I also wanted to make it something that people can get involved in. Let's say you have like a single friend that you want to just send something to, like, hey, you look good. I just want you to know, and it'd be so cute. Like just kind of like a something where you're not waiting till you're engaged, you're not waiting till you're married to like celebrate yourself or to have a party or to do special things. So I wanted to create something like that, and I had some ideas in mind, typical things like at home spa type materials, like bath bombs and scrubs and candles and journals and s'more things, like this little like almost like the wax warmer type things, except for doing it with like s'mores and candles, like that type of thing, and like sending it to people so they can do like day dates or dates at home and just embracing and getting to know themselves. But I wanted to ask, do you have some ideas for either things that you do or things that you would like to do that relate to like products that I could send to people?
So this is so funny you said that. Because I've just committed, I would say, since this has been 3 months now. So for the past 3 months since my birthday, and my birthday was August 27th. I've
Happy birthday,
committed.
Trey Day.
Trade day, get it, girl.
Hashtag Trey Day.
Hashtag trade day. So I have committed to getting myself flowers monthly, and just getting flowers. I mean, and at first I was like, oh, God, I'm telling you, I just be looking mad corny. I'm gonna go up inside the people's store like, I need flowers. Who you get the flowers to? Myself. I'm gonna look
Oh, so
mad
you don't buy them
corny.
there. You order them and have them sent to yourself?
Right. No, I don't do that. So
Mm.
no. That I find a bit too much. Because I will be like, oh my goodness, I got a delivery from
I hate,
myself.
girl. When I
No.
order stuff, I still run to the mailbox. I don't care. I get excited.
No, I'm not doing the flowers. Whoever want to do the flowers, shout out to you, boo boo. But I don't do the
Hmm.
flowers delivered.
Okay.
So I said
Hmm.
I'd be purchasing them once a month,
Hmm.
and just so I can. I realized I never really liked flowers. At least I told myself that at first. I
Okay.
told myself that I didn't like flowers
Hmm.
because I never received them. So I
Hmm.
just was like, whatever. I don't really like them. Um, I got flowers for my birthday, and I bawled out, like
Mm.
I bawled out. It was 12 beautiful pink roses. I mean, pink,
Wow.
and I got pink roses out of control on some, oh my goodness, this was so beautiful and everything, and I loved it. And I was like, yo. And I was in my journal praying and just having my alone time with God. And what's the problem with getting yourself some flowers every month? So you talking about you don't gotta wait for a man for your life
Mm-hmm.
to live your life, excuse me, but you are waiting
Mm-hmm.
for some flowers. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, it's not that real, guy. Like, it's not that real.
Mm-hmm.
But it really was. And so I've just committed to once a month getting myself flowers, and they are $5
Mm-hmm.
at Trader Joe's. The little corner men be having flowers, just something that I can see every month. And it's something beautiful just to see. There's beautiful flowers in my home. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it just makes me feel special. And
Mm-hmm.
I really love that. And so I'm looking forward to fostering that and continuing that. So when I actually get home from this conference, I'm supposed to be buying the flowers within this following week, this week that's coming up, because
Mm-hmm.
the flowers that I have currently are about to die. Like, when it starts to, when you change in the water
Change the
and the water
watercolor. Mm-hmm.
smell like whoa.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so this week coming up, I'm going to be buying flowers for my next month, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm just very excited. I just try to find ways to make make me feel special and for me, and that's one of the ways. And oh, and another thing, this is gonna sound so corny, but I love it. Another thing is anytime it rains, I like whenever it rains, I normally do this, but not when it's like freezing cold rain. But when it's raining, I will take a walk
Mm-hmm.
and just walk.
Wow.
And walk and walk and walk, and you get wet, and I start singing, and I know it's so corny, but
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love it. Singing
Mm-hmm.
in the rain, I find to be hella cool
Mm-hmm.
and hella fun. So I'll just like walk around and rain and just play and just walk, and it's always at nighttime, like late night, so no one's out really. Um, so I would suggest doing flowers, as well as maybe I know this it might sound weird, maybe like a rain boot, or even like rain, like like those CDs with the rain dripping and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, or a link to that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Those types of stuff. I just love rainy days, and they love rainy days to snuggle and stuff like that. And when
Mm-hmm.
you're single, you are not snuggling with what? Your pillow? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, so I think it's awesome to just seize the day and like carpe diem of the rainy day, and just be out there loving on it at night. Like nobody's out. Make popcorn, and or
Mm-hmm.
even have a candle and make dinner, no TV,
Mm-hmm.
just sit at the table and with the candle lit by yourself and enjoy your dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Like put your phone away, no TV, no
Right.
laptop, nothing, and just enjoy. I think we don't take enough time to really just sit still, and so excited for those types of gifts.
Mm-hmm.
Candles, love candles. Um, love the idea of the like rainy day note, maybe something like that, or
Mm-hmm.
even yeah.
Yeah. Mm-mm-mm. I love that, girl. I'm actually gonna start doing all of that for myself because that's another thing too. Like the one thing I love, and the reason why, I mean, I keep saying this is why I'm passionate, and I've listed like 50,000 reasons why, but this is not a single season lesson. Many lessons that we learn are not single season lessons. They are lifetime lessons. And you need to know how to love yourself and treat
Amen.
yourself and embrace that whole time where you're alone in your mind and get to know your own voice so it doesn't scare you when
Yeah.
nobody's there.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
stay in tune with who you are as a woman,
Yeah.
whether you're single, dating, engaged, married, wherever you fall on the spectrum. You need to learn to love yourself. And I hope and pray that this isn't something that will stop. Knowing you, it won't. But you know that it'll stop.
Yeah.
Like you'll still need those moments where you steal away and say, all right, on top of
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
all the things that I am, I'm still me and I still need to get in touch with me. I still need to assess my own spiritual, emotional, mental health outside of everything else that I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like this is a
Yeah. Yeah.
lifelong thing. I love it.
Yeah. Like,
I love that you shared all of that.
try to just personally make sure that introducing myself. So I know, just going back to just introductions and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it's important to talk about who you are first. And so, like, even in Romans, where Paul is like, I, Paul, like a servant, servant of God or servant of
Mm-hmm.
Christ. It's like that's who you really are. So whenever I'm saying, hi, I'm Tracey, like, that's who I am. Any and everything that I do is a byproduct of what he allows me to do in this world. But it's really important to really just like on beautiful in your life. And what's really beautiful in your life is the fact that you are alive, and the fact that you can move and do relatively as you please. So just owning that, rolling it, like, yeah, it's a fun time. And I mean, even just me going outside and stuff, like, I have a dog. His name is Belmont. It's a Chihuahua Terrier. I
Mm-hmm.
cannot wait to see my dog. But yeah, so even like with him, I have to go outside because I have to walk him.
Mm-hmm.
And so it prompts me on these rainy days to take an extra walk with myself and just really just enjoy the smell of rain, just the puddles everywhere, just all the
Mm-hmm.
trees hanging, all the flowers hanging. I mean, these are moments that most, if I will ever remember, but I know I can remember a year from now. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I pray I can remember a year from now, but it's such a beautiful moment to just take some time so you can have memories within yourself, and say, oh my goodness, God, you remember when we had that? Yo, it was mad fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or that was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
you know, um, that's just how I've been um, living, I would say 2 years now. But this like content in singleness and amazing. Like, when I finally got to that point where I'm like, yeah, all right, I like this. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
really feel single. There's a difference between being single and feeling single. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Being single is like, all right, you broken up, but that doesn't mean that you feel single. That doesn't mean that you
Mm-hmm.
are not still emotionally attached or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that way has been amazing, because I have been single, but also feeling that way
Mm-hmm.
has been really like, wow, it feels different, I would say. It
Right.
feels different.
I love that.
So,
I
yeah.
love that. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Yes. So, thank you. Thank you for having me. Prayerfully, I answered all these questions. I know I was talking about Joseph and his brothers. That's what I was talking about. I was
Mm-hmm.
talking about Joseph, his brothers, and how who he was in. And he was like, oh, this is who I'm gonna be, this is who I'm gonna be. But then it's like there's a whole process before you can actually be king.
Mm-hmm.
So That was
Absolutely.
my story.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I keep thinking about different ways to caption it. At first, I was going to be like preparing for cuffing season, what to do when you can't take matching Jordan pictures with Jesus, stuff like that. You know,
ah,
I'm like,
ah,
there's so much
J's
gold
with
in
Jesus
this.
or nah. J's with Jesus, fresh J's with Jesus or not. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Oh my God.
Hashtag cuffing season.
Mm-mm-mm. I love it. Love it.
Hashtag when cuffing season is not, what is it? Because cuffing season is supposed to be like
The
you're
survival
just
guide for
like,
cuffing season.
yeah,
Hmm.
like survival guide for
Yeah, oh my God, it's just so many good things. But
that was good.
man,
That was good.
thank you so much. I can't wait to share this and like get people's feedback, and then you share it too with your 85,000 hashtags because there's so much in here. But I love
You
it,
know
and
what you
I
gotta do?
mhm.
A smaller clip, like a minute clip, whatever,
Yep.
like
Hmm.
minute clip, and I will definitely post that.
Woohoo! All right, girl. Well, thank you so much for putting some time aside to do this
Yes.
chat. It was so great.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye bye. Have a good one.